August 9, 1965, Singapore's Independence Day. But this wasn't a celebration. Singapore's founding father Lee Kuan Yew cried on national television. Why was he crying? Because Singapore had just been kicked out of Malaysia, forced to become independent against their will. Look at Singapore on a map. A tiny island, 710 square kilometers, smaller than New York City. No natural resources, no oil, no minerals, not even enough water. 2/3 swamp and jungle. Population 2 million. Multiple ethnic groups, Chinese, Malay, Indian, didn't even speak same language, surrounded by hostile neighbors. Malaysia just kicked them out. Indonesia unfriendly. Unemployment 14%. GDP per capita $500, poorest in Asia. International experts predicted Singapore cannot survive. British said, not viable. CIA reported, will likely fail. Fast forward to 2026. GDP per capita $88,000. Richer than USA, world's cleanest city, safest country, best airport, global financial hub, from third world to first world in one generation. How? One man, one vision, strategy nobody believed would work. June 1959, Lee Kuan Yew became Prime Minister of Singapore. But Singapore wasn't independent yet, it was still a British colony. Lee's plan, merge with Malaysia, become part of bigger nation. Why? Singapore too small to survive alone, no resources, no market. 1963, the merger happened. Singapore joined Federation of Malaysia, but it was disaster from day one. The problem, race politics. Malaysia, Malay dominated, wanted Malay supremacy. Singapore, majority Chinese, 75%. Tensions exploded. July 1964, race riots in Singapore. 23 people killed, hundreds injured. Chinese vs Malay violence. Malaysian federal government blamed Lee Kuan Yew, said he was stirring trouble, threatening Malay dominance. August 7, 1965, Malaysian Prime Minister Tunku Abdul Rahman made decision, kick Singapore out. Lee Kuan Yew didn't want independence, he begged to stay. But Malaysia's parliament voted, Singapore must go. August 9, 1965, Singapore became independent. Lee Kuan Yew appeared on television to announce separation. He broke down crying. His words, "For me, it is a moment of anguish. All my life I believed in merger and unity." He cried because he knew Singapore was in deep trouble. The challenges were overwhelming. Challenge 1, no resources, no oil, minerals, farmland, even drinking water imported from Malaysia. Challenge 2, no military, couldn't defend itself. Challenge 3, 14% unemployment, widespread poverty. Challenge 4, ethnic tensions, recent race riots. Could Chinese, Malay, Indian communities coexist? Challenge 5, communist threat, insurgency brewing. Internal communist agitators. International experts gave Singapore zero chance of survival. But Lee Kuan Yew refused to give up. He gathered his team and came up with a plan. Lee Kuan Yew asked one question: what do we have that others don't? The answer, location. Singapore sits at tip of Malay Peninsula between Indian Ocean and South China Sea, one of world's most important shipping routes. If we can't produce anything, we can become the middleman. Lee's 5-pillar strategy. Pillar 1, make English the working language. English is language of international business. Every school taught in English. Pillar 2, meritocracy, best person for job. No quotas based on race. Chinese, Malay, Indian didn't matter. Best person gets job. Pillar 3, zero tolerance for corruption. If you're corrupt, you go to jail, no exceptions. Ministers paid high salaries to reduce temptation. Pillar 4, make Singapore business friendly. Low taxes, efficient bureaucracy, rule of law. If we make it easy, companies will come. Pillar 5, build world-class infrastructure. Or airport, housing, transportation. Invest in the future even when poor. But here's the thing, Lee Kuan Yew wasn't asking permission. He wasn't running popularity contests. Singapore was democracy on paper, but in practice, Lee's People's Action Party dominated everything. Opposition crushed, media controlled, dissent not tolerated. Lee's philosophy, I'm not interested in being popular, I'm interested in results, and he got results. 1965-1970, the critical first 5 years. Lee moved fast, no time for debate. Strategy 1, attract foreign investment. Singapore had nothing, no factories, no industries, so Lee went hunting. He personally traveled to America, Europe, Japan. His pitch to multinational corporations: set up factory in Singapore. We'll give you skilled workers, stability, zero corruption, low taxes, strategic location. Companies were skeptical. Why Singapore? But Lee was persistent. 1968, Texas Instruments became first major company to set up in Singapore. Others followed: General Electric, Hewlett-Packard, Shell. Suddenly Singapore had jobs, factories, exports, strategy authors too, hub. southeast between Asia's aviation hub, one of Changi World's airport most world-class. 1981, Changi we can become the airport middleman opened. Pillar design strategy to be the best airport in the world. Work. Make English the Changi has been voted working world's best airport over 10 language times. Top Pillar 2 carriers. Meritocracy best strategy 3, Port of Singapore shipping hub. Singapore's natural harbor was perfect for shipping. Facilities. Best container person gets job terminals. Efficiency. Zero result, transshipment no port. Even today, Singapore handles ministers more paid high shipping tonnage than any port in world. Strategy 4, make housing HDB flats. Friendly 1960s, Singaporeans lived in rule of law slums. Squatter companies will come settlements. Lee's solution, world-class housing infrastructure development board HDB. Apartment housing blocks. Affordable invest in the future housing. By 1980s, HDB he wasn't flats, genius part, but in policy. Blockhead Lee's mandatory People's Racial Action Party quotas. Chinese, opposition, Malay together. No ethnic tolerated enclaves, ghettos. Interested in being popular, forced integration. Prevent and he got racial results tensions. It worked. Critical race first riots 5 years stopped. 5, time for education debate invest in people. Singapore had no natural attract foreign resources, human capital, education. English factories taught schools, technical industries training. Focus on math, science, personally engineering. Goalily engineering trav, creates skilled workforce for modern economy. Japan, his pitch to unemployment 3% down from 14%. GDP per capita $5 will give you increase from 1965. 85%. Zero mortality corruption dropped. Increase to 72 companies were years. Why working? Came with a Lee was cost. Lee Kuan Yew delivered results, but his methods controversial. Issue 1, political repression. Singapore is technically a democracy. Elections happen, but Lee's People's Action Party has won every single election since 1959. How? Tactics. Opposition politicians sued for defamation, bankrupted by legal fees. Gerrymandering electoral boundaries redrawn to favor PAP. Famous case, J.B. Jeyaretnam, opposition politician. Kept winning his seat. PAP sued him multiple times for defamation, eventually bankrupted him, disqualified from parliament because of bankruptcy. Lee's justification, if you challenge the system you better be right because I will use every legal means to defend it. Issue 2, strict laws the fine city. Singapore is famous for strict laws. Chewing gum banned except medical gum. Selling it equals fine or jail. Littering, $1,000 fine. Jaywalking, fine. Graffiti, caning physical punishment with a cane. Drug trafficking, death penalty, no exceptions. Vandalism, caning. 1994 Michael Fay case. American teenager spray-painted cars in Singapore, sentenced to caning. U.S. President Bill Clinton asked for mercy. Lee refused. Fay was caned. Singapore's message. Our country, our rules, even Americans aren't above the law. Issue 3, limited freedom of speech. Press freedom, restricted. Newspapers, TV mostly state-controlled. Critical journalism, risky, could face defamation lawsuits. Issue 4, Internal Security Act ISA, allows government to detain people without trial, originally for communist threats, but also used against political dissidents. Critics say it's used to silence opposition. The question, is this authoritarianism justified? Lee's argument, you need discipline and order before you can have freedom and prosperity. We chose prosperity first. Western-style democracy doesn't work in Asia. We need Asian values discipline, respect for authority, family, community over individual. Critics counter, Singapore succeeded economically but at cost of freedom. It's a comfortable dictatorship. The reality, most Singaporeans accept it. Why? Because it works. They have jobs, safety, prosperity, clean streets, low crime. Is that worth giving up some freedoms? Singaporeans seem to think so. But there's another side to this success. Singapore didn't build everything alone. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Singapore had advantages other countries don't have. Advantage 1, strategic location. Singapore sits on Strait of Malacca, one of world's busiest shipping routes. 30% of global trade passes through this strait. Singapore didn't choose this. Geography gave it to them. Luck, not planning. Advantage 2, British legacy institutions. Singapore was British colony for 140 years. When they left, Britain gave Singapore legal system, civil service structure, English language, port infrastructure, education system foundation. These institutions gave Singapore a head start. Advantage 3, small size, 710 square kilometers, 2 million people in 1965. Easy to govern, easy to implement policies. You can't replicate this in India 1. 4 billion people or Indonesia 270 million. Scale matters. Advantage 4, no democracy pressure initially. Lee Kuan Yew could implement tough policies without worrying about losing elections. In true democracy, unpopular but necessary policies get voted down. Lee didn't have that problem. Advantage 5, ethnic Chinese majority. 75% of Singapore's population is ethnic Chinese. Chinese culture emphasizes education, hard work, discipline, respect for authority. This cultural foundation helped. Advantage 6, Cold War timing. 1960s-80s, Cold War era. America wanted allies in Southeast Asia to counter communism. Singapore positioned itself as capitalist hub. US companies got incentives to invest. American military used Singapore's port. Singapore benefited from being on right side of Cold War. Advantage 7, no corruption because of size. In small country, everyone knows everyone. Corruption harder to hide. In massive country, corruption can exist in distant regions without central government knowing. Singapore's size made it easier to control corruption. The question, can other countries replicate Singapore's success? The answer, probably not completely. What can other countries learn from Singapore? Lesson 1, visionary leadership matters. Lee Kuan Yew had a 50-year vision. He didn't think in 4-year election cycles. He planned for generations. Most politicians think short-term. Lee thought long-term. Replicable lesson, any leader can choose this. Lesson 2, meritocracy over everything. Best person for job, no nepotism, no corruption. Singapore's ministers highest paid in world to attract talent and reduce corruption. It works. Replicable anywhere. Lesson 3, invest in education. Singapore had no oil, no gold, their resource, people. Today, Singapore's students rank #1 globally in math and science. Education investment works, replicable. Lesson 4, infrastructure equals long-term growth. Even when poor, Singapore built world-class infrastructure. Ports, airports, housing, transport, these investments paid off over decades. Any country can invest in infrastructure. Replicable. Lesson 5, make it easy to do business. Low taxes, efficient bureaucracy, rule of law. Singapore ranked #1-2 globally for ease of doing business. Companies want predictability. Singapore delivers. Replicable. Lesson 6, leverage your advantages. Singapore maximized its geographic position. Every country has some advantage. Identify it. Maximize it. Lesson 7, ethnic integration prevents conflict. Forced mixing in housing prevented ethnic enclaves. Diversity managed properly becomes strength. Replicable. Lesson 8, discipline creates stability. Strict laws, low crime, clean streets create stable environment for investment. Businesses want stability. Singapore provides it now. The dark lessons, warnings from Singapore's experience. Dark lesson 1, authoritarianism has costs. Singapore succeeded economically, but at cost of freedom. Limited political rights, controlled media. Is that trade-off worth it? Dark lesson 2, success doesn't equal happiness. High rates of stress, anxiety, depression despite wealth. Intense work culture, extreme academic stress. Success came with mental health costs. Dark lesson 3, inequality growing, the rich getting richer. The poor struggling. Dark lesson 4, can't replicate everywhere. Singapore's model works for 5 million people, not 300 million. What works at small scale doesn't always scale up. Dark lesson 5, sustainability questions. Singapore imports everything: food, water, energy. Is this sustainable long-term? What if supply chains break? What if neighbors turn hostile? Singapore is vulnerable. These are the lessons, both positive and dark. Lee Kuan Yew died in 2015. Singapore mourned. He was the founding father. But his death raised questions. Can Singapore succeed without Lee? Current Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, Lee Kuan Yew's son. Yes, his son, nepotism or merit. Singaporeans mostly accept it because he's competent, but dynastic succession makes some uncomfortable. Modern challenges Singapore faces. Challenge 1, aging population. Birth rate 0. 97 children per woman, one of lowest in world. Population aging rapidly. Who will support elderly? Who will work? Solution, immigration. Singapore imports workers, but this creates tension. Locals complain, foreigners taking our jobs. Challenge 2, rising costs. Singapore expensive, one of world's most expensive cities. Housing prices skyrocketing. Young people can't afford homes. Challenge 3, political pressure. Younger generation wants more freedom. More opposition voices in parliament, small but growing. Can PAP dominance continue? Challenge 4, global competition. Other Asian cities rising, Hong Kong, Dubai, Shanghai. Can Singapore maintain its edge? Challenge 5, climate change. Singapore low-lying island, sea level rise threatens. Government investing billions in coastal defenses. Challenge 6, COVID showed vulnerability. Global trade stopped. Borders closed. Singapore's model depends on being global hub. What happens when world shuts down? Despite these challenges, Singapore remains strong. 2026 statistics: GDP per capita $88,000, unemployment 2.1%, literacy 97%, life expectancy 84 years, lowest crime, virtually zero corruption. Singapore is proof that good governance works. But challenges ahead are real. Can Singapore adapt? Time will tell. Let's go back to where we started. August 9, 1965. Lee Kuan Yew crying on television. Singapore kicked out of Malaysia. Tiny island. No resources, no future. 2026, one of richest countries in world, from third world to first world in one generation. How did they do it? 5 key factors. Factor 1, visionary leadership. Lee Kuan Yew thought 50 years ahead, planned for long term, ignored short-term popularity. Factor 2, meritocracy. Best person for job, no race quotas, no corruption, performance mattered above everything. Factor 3, pragmatism. Lee's only question, does it work? Capitalism, sure. Socialism, if it helps. Authoritarianism, whatever gets results. No ideology, pure pragmatism. If it works, use it. Factor 4, investment in people. Education, skills training, English language, made people the resource. Factor 5, strategic positioning. Leveraged geographic location, became the middleman for global trade. Aviation hub, shipping hub, financial hub. But let's be honest, Singapore also had advantages. Strategic location, lucky geography. British institutional legacy, small size, easy to govern. Cold War timing, US support. No democratic pressure initially. Chinese culture emphasizing education and discipline. Singapore had help. Could this work elsewhere? What can others copy? You can copy education, investment, anti-corruption, infrastructure, business-friendly, long-term thinking. You cannot copy Singapore's geography. Location is fixed. Singapore's size, governing 5 million vs 300 million, totally different. Cold War timing, that era is gone. The big question, is Singapore's authoritarianism necessary? Lee argued, yes, discipline before democracy, order before freedom. Prosperity first. Critics argued, no, you can have both prosperity and freedom. South Korea, Japan, Taiwan became rich and democratic, took longer, had more chaos, but achieved both. Singapore's path was faster, but at cost of freedoms. Is it worth it? Singaporeans seem to think so. They trade political freedom for prosperity and safety. Different cultures value different things. Americans would never accept this. But Singapore is not America. Cultural context matters. The legacy of Lee Kuan Yew, love him or hate him, he delivered. He took a failing island and made it first world nation. His most famous quote, "I'm not saying that everything I did was right, but everything I did was for an honorable purpose." Whether you agree with his methods or not, the results speak for themselves. Final thought, Singapore proves good governance matters more than natural resources. You don't need oil, you don't need gold. You need vision, discipline, meritocracy, long-term thinking, efficient execution. Singapore is a miracle, but it's also a warning that success requires sacrifice. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Freedom for prosperity, chaos for order, individual rights for collective success. Singapore made its choice. What would you choose?